got some family stories I want from you.
Oh, right.
For example, I know you had your wedding ring cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, you had a bout of arthritis or something like that.
I had a sudden attack of arthritis in the left hand, and it was before your mother and I were over in the UK, and it was before we were due to fly back, and I could suddenly feel this finger getting tighter and tighter with the ring on it. I couldn't get it off, and my dad got a pair of side cutters and cut the ring off, and that's in my little leather jewellery box.
I know, I saw it there, and that's why I wanted this story in particular. Because that's there.
There's also a signet ring in there.
Signet ring, yes. Yeah.
That came from my father. That's intact. Was to go on to you. That was where it was destined to go. Yeah.
No, I saw that one in there, and I remember it happened. So I thought I'll make sure I get you to talk about that. In this video. And you also have already given me Granddad's pocket watch. And I have that.
Yes.
I recall you told me a story. I think it was a gift from Nana to Granddad, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. A gift from Nana to Granddad.
Yeah.
And he wore it with a tuxedo dinner suit, you know, that's where he wore it.
Yes.
So it sort of, because the two of them used to go out every Saturday night for a dinner dance somewhere, then he got a going out every once a week. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew the story behind that. And a couple of things I want to ask you about Granddad, because it's come to a point in time where not many people will remember these stories, but you can remember them. And there's some very interesting things you used to tell me about Granddad's store, and in particular the betting operation he was running.
Yeah. Dad was really good with numbers. Really good with numbers in his head. And as Lynn and I, as two kids, if we give him two numbers and say, what's 23 multiplied by 35 or something other, and he would just look up at the roof for a second or so and give us the answer. And of course, we'd scrabble around at the bottom trying to figure out whether he was right or not, and he always was. But because he was so good with numbers, during the day he used to sort chamois leather skins, which went on to become other products. And he used to stand at this big desk. It's an upright desk, and he used to sort leather and throw it to one side, depending upon whether we're going to make lens wipers or whether we're going to do something else with them. And eventually, I don't know how he quite got into this betting business, but he got into it anyway. And he someone would place a bet with him, and he'd write it on a slip or paper, which he'd tack up around the work area where he was working at, until a local policeman came in one day and said, "Stan, we see a lot of people coming into this factory and they're not buying rabbit skins." And he looked pointedly at all these little chits, you know, sort of hanging down, and he said to Dad, you know, "Do you understand what I'm telling you?" "Yes, I do." "Yeah." So Dad said, "Well, that's it, done very well." And from that money, he bought the Princess or the Shearline. He bought that car from the earnings of all that. Yeah. He was...
that was dog racing or horse racing?
Horse racing it was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, horse racing.
Yeah.
And he was a smart lad, Dad. He was really good with numbers.
I remember you telling me that there was something like the royals were visiting Godalming and he went to protest.
Yeah. There was the water pipes were corroding in Godalming.
Yeah.
And the water we got to the taps was atrocious. Came out in like lumps.
Yeah, right.
And Dad started a petition to get the council to change the water pipes, and they weren't budging at all. And Dad had lots of posters up at the front. He put a desk out the front there for people to sign a petition, whatever. And then they came and looked, saying, "Can we call this off for a little while? The Queen's going to come through the town here soon, and we're trying to make the place look good." That was Dad's incentive to double up on the whole game.
Yeah.
More posters, more streamers, yeah. And the council agreed to replace the water pipes, which they should have done anyway. I mean,
yeah.
They should have bloody well seen that it wasn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that the farm you grew up on, just to sort of illustrate the difference in history between Australia and England, that you had an old barn that was something like 500 years old.
Yeah, was ancient thing, and to us it was just a barn that leaked. But, it stayed there, and when I went back to the UK in 2001, I think it was, the old barn was still there.
Wow.
But it obviously had work done on it. I think it was, I forget how I knew it was different shingles on the side of it or something like that. But they'd certainly worked on it, to keep it going. Yeah. It was nice to go back and see the farm, but a bit depressing in some ways because it had really been let go, and the buildings had been let go. And one of the main buildings where we kept pigs had a big skylight in the middle of it, and it had all fallen in, the whole structure.
Oh.
All the skylight, the tiles, frame, just this bloody great hole in the roof. Yeah, a bit sad. Anyway, the owners there, the then owners, said that they were committed to rebuilding it, making it go right properly. Because I mean, you think we made a reasonably good living out of, what was it, I think it's 50 acres, 25 acres, it wasn't much. Only a little small holding really, by Australian standards, But made $1 out of it, or Dad did.
Yeah. And speaking of sheds, there was something I recall from garage, barns, whatever. You built the shed at 49 Croydon Road, obviously, before it was all knocked down and redone, but there was a huge shed out the back of Croydon Road that I believe you built.
The garage.
Garage, yes, yeah.
Garage. I built a bit of it. There was an old shed there which we knocked down. Then I went to the council for building permission to build on the fence line, which they granted, and then I got some people to pour double slab of concrete. Somebody else did the brickwork. I put the roof on. I did all the roofing work, and I was working for Camarco at that time, so I made sure the roof was out of aluminium, and it never rusted, of course, so that was good, yeah. And my idea was, there was 2 doors in the side of it. One at the end of it, I was going to partition that off and run a small business from an office there, that's what I was going to do. Anyway, I thought I'd be a general handyman for people all around. I thought that if I got some flyers printed out, posted them in people's boxes, then I could make a reasonable living out of it, you know.
Hmm.
Just advertising handyman things to be done that I would do in the house for people. And anyway, never came to that. Never did that. That was the reason there were 2 doors in it.
I remember you saying that the inspector came around and was trying to get you to effectively looking for a bribe.
Yeah. He said there wasn't enough timber in the roofing structure. And I said, and it did look a bit sparse, but I said, look, it's exactly as per the council's building regulations. Oh, I don't think it's enough. I really think that, you know, we have more timber. I'm sure we can come to some agreement on, you know, what more needs to be done. And he said, save you the expense of putting in more timber and everything else, you know. I said, no, don't worry about it. If you're concerned, I will put in what you ask for. I will pay the money to put in the rest of the timber, you know, which wasn't necessarily according to council plans. But I thought, bugger it, I'm not going to, you know, not going to pay you. I might as well put the money into the roof rather than pay him off. That was a good little garage, actually.
Yeah, it was a really good one. Well done.
You turned it into a bit of a bar there, didn't you?
For a bar there, you had work weights there. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Tough.
Very big shed.
Yeah.
Now, I think there's a story which I think is accurate, which is from, you told me when I had my motorcycle accident, and I believe that motorcycle accidents kind of run in the family, and I believe you had one, and so did Granddad.
That's right. Yeah. Granddad ended up in. My father ended up in hospital after breaking something wrong. I forget now. On a motorbike. Not being very successful motorcyclist.
No.
Yeah, well, in terms of keeping ourselves off of the tarmac, that is. Yeah.
And you ended up, I think, with a broken ankle or something, didn't you?
I did, yeah, broken ankle. Stripped all the clothes off of my back.
Yeah, right.
It was winter time, and I had Lynn on as a passenger, the pillion passenger, and she got thrown clear of the site of the accident and landed on a grass verge alongside it. When I think back at it now, I only had one crash helmet, and I'd insist that she will wear it on that time, and the crash helmet was damaged.
Yeah.
I think now that I could have been the result of Lynn's death through just being just being a bit stupid, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
If the guy hadn't forced me into the incoming traffic, everything would have been all right, but he did, and that was it. Yeah.
What does is you overtaking someone and he just forced you in or something?
Yeah, I was overtaking a vehicle, and there's a good clear stretch of road, but there was cars coming towards me, and this guy forced me back out over the centre of the road into the oncoming traffic, and I braked hard to try and get back behind this truck, but didn't quite make it in time. But luckily the truck driver coming towards me had seen what was going on, and he had also braked, so we probably weren't doing our top speed. If we had been, we would have probably both been dead.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
In my teens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in my teens. Would have been, I would have been late. I would have been probably 19 or something like that.
Yeah. Do you know how old Granddad was when he crashed his bike?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
He had more than one accident, I think.
Oh, right.
He got stuck in tram lines in London.
Yeah.
It's stuck in the groove of tram lines in London. One time he couldn't get out of the way, couldn't get out of the light and hit something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. He had a, what did he have? Can't remember the name of the bike he had. No, I don't remember. Huh. Funny going back those over time.
And at your house, there's this old model steam engine which powers a light, and someone built it for you, I think, if I remember.
That's right. A guy called Peter Lukey built it for me. I'd done a few things for Peter over the years, and I'd salvaged some shell casings from what we call the deep wreck in Bougainville, and given them to Peter, and he'd sort of done them up as he wanted to. And then Peter left the company. He left and went to Gladstone, and he worked for a subsidiary of the power station there. And your mother and I called in to see him on the way. We were going south, I think. And he showed me this steam engine. He said it's a model of an engine used in ships, he said, because I know you like ships. So he said it's the exact replica of that engine. It was just nice. And I thought, well, in order to illustrate to people sort of how you turn the steam into light, I bought that little generator and the shaft and the drive sort of chain thing there, so that when the steam engine went, the light lit up, sort of like an instructive sort of toy thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
And I don't know what to do with that, David. I really don't. I don't know. I'd like to think it went to a good home somewhere, but
I was thinking, looking at it. I was looking at it. I don't know if I wanted. If I do, maybe. But if not, I think I'll hang on to it for a bit until I make that decision. But
it's like hanging.
But if I don't, I was thinking like kind of like a train enthusiast would probably like that.
Yeah,
they like the old steam engine type things. So
yeah,
I think that it will end up somewhere. There'll be someone who'll be sort of interested in a little steam engine that actually works.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
There's bound to be a newsletter or sort of magazine out which connects with people who are interested in live steam.
Yeah, for sure there would be.
Yeah.
All right.